Welcome to Book Talk for Book Talk with Jack and Amy, a literary podcast where we deep dive into the writing of your favorite novels. This is Jack.
And I'm Amy, and during this season of Book Club, we're stepping away on Thursdays to explore topics we've recently written about on the Subtext Society Journal.
This week we're discussing reader versus author space. What is it and where do we belong?
The Subtext Society Journal is a space for critical thinking and cultural reflection on the genres that are too often dismissed, including romance, romantasy, fanfiction, and the narratives that live rent-free in our hearts and minds.
We're creating a bridge between academic analysis and the everyday reading experience, between highbrow literary commentary and the deeply personal way books shape who we are.
We publish thoughtful essays from our readers, ourselves, and guest contributors that explore the moral questions, genre evolutions, and cultural conversations happening in real time.
We are redefining what deserves serious attention in publishing, and we're doing it with feeling.
The views expressed in this episode are entirely our own and are not meant to represent the larger opinion of the Bookish community. This podcast is a discussion shared to spark thought and conversation. Readers and listeners are encouraged to share their own analysis and thoughts.
Explicit language, as well as themes of sex, violence, abuse, depression, self-harm, and death will recur throughout this podcast. Listener discretion is advised. If you're listening to this, that means obviously you're listening. But if you're watching this, or if you're like listening and going, they sound and look different, that's because it is currently holiday break and Amy and I are in two different states. I'm in Kentucky.
And I'm in Minnesota.
So if we sound different, it's because of the time zones.
And if we look different, it's because we're not in our normal spaces.
Because we don't have good lighting. Okay, so before we begin, I want to show Amy that I got a special large printed version of this.
Oh, it's a picture of us.
From our photo shoot for the podcast. And I'm going to frame it and put it on my wall.
I love it.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to show you.
Okay. I love it.
Yeah, I do too. You're going to love it more when you see it. And you're like, oh, I want to do that.
I've already thought that. I already know what frame I'm going to put it in.
Which photo are you going to do? I think you like a different one of us when we're hugging.
Yeah, there's many photos of us I like.
There's so many that I know. We paid for them. Okay, so we are here to discuss an article I wrote that is reader versus author space. Who owns it? I don't think it hasn't published yet, so I don't know what kind of spicy title it's been given, but that's the general gist of it. And this comes from BookTok Drama, which it comes around every couple months, this particular subject. But before I introduce it, Amy, had you heard of the reader space? In case our listeners are also like, I have no idea what the reader space is. And you could be like, hey, neither did I.
I didn't either until you brought it up. And when I read your article, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. But I would never have called it the reader space intuitively.
I did not know about it until some kind of BookTok Drama. And this one came again from an author who is an influencer, and she posted something, or she didn't post anything. It was someone, she came out with her first book, and someone on Thread said something about like that they weren't a huge fan of it. And she said like her response was fairly nice, being like, hey, like, totally understand, go get your refund. But she did it in a funny, nice way. But then her followers, because again, she's a fairly large influencer, started going after this person. And then and then everyone was like, well, she should know better. She should know about the reader space. And I was like, do I know about the reader space? I had only recently discovered it beforehand. And now it's time for us to tell the listener what the reader space is. So I'll begin. Feel free to riff with me, bounce off of it. So the reader space is what it sounds like. It is the reader space, but specifically in digital format online. And initially it was Goodreads. It was Amazon reviews. It was Barnes & Noble reviews, anything that was online and a place for readers to interact, and especially Goodreads, because that was the main one for a long time. And that was a particularly spicy place because every once in a while, an author would come in and comment, but that is a platform specifically for readers.
Yeah. I mean, think about it this way. For a long time, movies, books, they've been reviewed by magazines like newspapers. And that was the only place to get like a sense of, is this a good book? Should I read it? Or it's by word of mouth through people you know who might have read it. There was no opportunity for quote unquote intrusion for the author to like say their piece.
Yeah.
And that's what Goodreads, Amazon, Barnes and Noble became in a modern way. But now it's gone even further with social media.
Yeah, and it really was one of those moments where I know a number of authors, they have like two approaches when it comes to Goodreads and reviews in general. Plenty of authors have been like, a reader's review of my book has nothing to do with me,
Mm-hmm.
and they will stay far, far away from Goodreads. Understandably, I can't imagine myself being any better than that. Unless I had done something in my book that was offensive or anything like that, I would want that brought to my attention immediately.
Yeah.
Anything else, I do not need to know. And
Yeah.
then there's other authors when like we interviewed Megan Quinn and she said that she goes and reads all of the reviews on Goodreads. I was shocked. I was like, "Oh my god, you brave soul." But she
Right.
doesn't comment. Now, every
Right.
once in a while there was an author that would go and comment and would be fighting readers in the comment sections commenting on their reviews, and
Mm-hmm.
that was a big big taboo. And then became the precedence of authors cannot be in these reader spaces.
I remember one book I looked at on Goodreads to get a sense
Mhm.
of whether or not it was a good book. And there was a 5-star rating. I was like, okay, what does the 5-star rating say? It was the author themselves saying, I hope you really like my book.
Oh, no. Ah, that's cringy. That's cringy.
Yeah.
Was it a big author? Was it a big book?
No, no, it was not.
I mean,
But
and I
still,
think
it's
it's stuff.
cringy.
Yeah, and I think it's stuff like that that prevents people from flourishing as authors. Now, something happened during the pandemic, and that magical thing is BookTok and TikTok in general. And all of a sudden, this platform grows and it starts to kind of bleed a little bit into each other. You have influencers that start popping off and becoming super popular that then get later picked up for publishing deals. Stacey McEwen is a great example of that. But then you also have authors who joined TikTok just to make funny videos that became influencers within their own right. Look
Mm-hmm.
at Tessa Bailey. I remember I was one of the people in her comment section that was like, holy shit, you're the author and you're this person? Because she
Yeah.
had this series where she would stitch these videos and go, here's my idea for a book. And then she just has this like really funny, dry wit. And same thing with Stacey McEwen. Like, so you kind of have like the opposite coming, right? Stacey McEwen had these really funny skits that she would do with her husband and would be like, would you growl my name if someone threatened my life? And he'd be like, I'm not gonna fucking growl. Like, what does that even mean?
Yeah.
And she's like, you and I interviewed her, one of the funniest people
Mm-hmm.
we have
Mm-hmm.
ever spoken to, and that is knowing that I'm talking to you, who I think is one of the funniest people. But like Stacy is just another.
She's on another plane of existence.
Yeah. And then her book gets picked up and she has a whole other series that you and I still haven't read yet, but we read her Forbidden Alchemy book, and that you would never guess that that book, which is amazing and devastating, would be written by the funniest author. But you have this magical thing happening where it was just such a like Wild West moment, right? Like you just had these everyone out there saying these, just like talking, and it didn't really matter if you were an author and an influencer. You were kind of both.
Yeah. I mean, we saw it happen in real time
Mhm.
to our friend Kate Golden, right?
Mhm.
She had reached out to us to promote her self published book, and we didn't really know anything about it at the time. We're like, yeah, sure. We'll read it and we'll talk to you.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, we really got an email out of the blue.
Yeah.
And then overnight, she
And
had
we loved it.
created,
We loved
we
it.
loved it, but like before it had even become really available,
Mhm.
she had created videos about, like, because she missed her characters, she
Yeah.
created aesthetic videos that popped off. And
Yeah.
so all of a sudden she has 10,000 Goodreads reviews, and all of a sudden she's got a major traditional book deal.
Which was so exciting to, I mean, it's funny, we really did see that happen in real time because we developed a friendship with her. And so all these incredible things were happening and she got picked up. And then, she had to not self-publish the second book, even though it was
Mm-hmm.
ready. And then, all of these are getting put out. And now she has another book deal for another 3-book series. And then she
Yeah.
had a contemporary romance. And this woman is incredible and honestly prolific.
Yeah.
And you have this moment and people were eating up authors' promotions of their own book.
Mhm.
Genuinely, like, people would love it when all of a sudden they're just like there was a couple ones where they'd be like, "Get ready with me as I tell you about the time that I accidentally slept with my boss before work." And people would be like,
Yes.
"Oh my god, like, I can't believe that happened." And then it ends with, "Read my book at blah, blah, blah."
Yeah,
And
yeah.
everyone would be loving it. Or you'd see this, like, yeah, like an aesthetic video that has, like, actual clips or, I was about to say lyrics. I've been listening to a lot of Taylor Swift, but like snippets of the book where it's like,
Yeah.
he growled at her and, choked her while saying I love you, right? And everyone was
Yeah.
like, I need more of these books.
Yeah.
And it was this, whether for I mean, I loved it. I love that time because it was kind of like this wonderful symbiotic relationship where authors are a presence for the first time, because
Mhm.
writing is a solitary act. Writing is, even though you have your editors and you have, your agent, but you talk to them for a little bit and you're busy editing, and authors don't really get a lot of face time. But now here they are with a personality, with a voice, with humor, and they're able to actually say, "Hey, here's my book idea." And people are in the comments saying, "Yes, I want this. I need this."
Mhm.
And then people are now reading books that they love and then they're creating videos about it. And it was working together.
Yeah, and I think that must be so gratifying as an author. Not everybody posts reviews when they enjoyed a book.
Yeah.
And this is the case no matter what your field is, no matter what type of work you do, no matter what type of artist you are. The negative comments or reviews are
Mhm.
much speak louder and are more frequent maybe than the positive. And so what a wonderful way for creators, for authors, people who are just starting out who need a boost of self-esteem to get positive feedback that encourages them to keep going.
And I think you and I have an interesting kind of parallel to this. And, we're not published authors yet. We're working on it, but we have this podcast. And me as a reader, when I go to Goodreads, and if I were to leave a 4-star review rating, that's a good review for me. Like, I liked
Mhm.
it. I enjoyed it thoroughly. Like, that is not a bad thing for me at all. Like, I'm just, all right. Like, I enjoyed this a lot. I see a 4-star review for the podcast. I'm like, where did we fail you? What did we do? Why
Yeah.
isn't it a 5-star? Why
Yeah.
did you even leave a review if that was the case? You know what I mean? And it is like a really weird moment where it's like me, the giver of the review. No, 4-star, should be proud of it. Me
Yeah.
receiving a 4-star, wrecked.
Yeah. Well, that's the overachievers in us.
No, I didn't know. I didn't know. It is a weird thing hearing it, where if you got a review and the review isn't, you weren't completely good enough. Yeah, that I'm
Yeah.
hearing the overachiever now. I can
Yep.
hear
Yep.
that. No, I'm like, no, no, but like when you're told you're completely good enough or you didn't excel, okay, yeah,
I'll
it's
give
fine.
you my, here's your therapy bill now.
I know, right? No, you're just trying to make up for the therapy you just paid for.
Yeah, it's true.
Uh, I mean, every once in a while we have to go through our reviews. We stopped looking at reviews a long time ago.
Many,
And
many, many moons ago.
many, many moons. Luckily, the most offensive thing, knock on wood, choi, 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 as far as I know that we've said on the podcast, is that art of female characters who are particularly short with male characters who are really tall sometimes doesn't look always right because they make her look too
Childlike.
childish.
And that's the fault of the artist.
That was the most controversial thing we said, and that was something that we got a lot of flack for. So
And rightly so.
rightly so. Yeah, rightly so. But all to say is like I don't look at reviews, and Amy knows not to look at reviews. There was like one day you're scrolling through some reviews and I was like, "Can you stop because I can see the screen, and if I see something that's not 5-star, it's going to stress me out. So can you just like look
Mhm.
at those when I'm not in the room because I can't handle it
Yeah,
and you will hide them from me."
I do. I do not tell you.
Yeah. There was like one you read one time, you're like, "We got a bad," it was like one of the early ones. And I was like, what did they say? You're like, "They said that you were mean to me." And I truly believe that they confused us.
That's so funny. At the time, I was like, I can see what they're saying.
Need I remind you? Squirrel balls.
I think this was before squirrel balls. But
Squirrel nuts. Scroll
Nuts.
nuts.
Getting nutted.
The only nuts you're getting. Okay, back to the subject at hand. So you get this amazing symbiotic relationship, right? They're working with one another, and just like all good things, it kind of takes a shift because what started off as this fun organic thing, we're all trapped in the house. We're all stuck in pandemic. Some people are just making general commentary who turn into big authors. People are excited to read their books. Authors are becoming their own influencers. And then like all things, that is at its core a business, it has to take a business turn. And that's the same thing with authors, where it then became from, oh my God, here's this really great idea, to they're still doing the same thing. But the difference out is now is that for me personally, readers are starting to become aware of, oh, wait a minute, you need me to watch
Mm-hmm.
this, to buy your book. And then it becomes, oh, you're not just saying this fun story idea. You actually want me to buy your book. It goes
Right.
from, oh my God, let me tell you about the time I accidentally slept with my boss, to people going from like in the comments, this is amazing, to, oh my God, this isn't even real, is it? Like you're just trying to promote your
Mm.
book. And, as someone who does social media marketing for my day job, and I've done it with corporate, like not freelance, I've done it through for several corporations, people sniff out a business post immediately. If you're
Yeah.
trying to provide any kind of revenue, I need you to consume my X, Y, and Z. And even the
Mm-hmm.
same thing for the podcast, even though no one's paying for this podcast except for our Patreon users, love you. But like we're still promoting, we're asking you to consume. People sniff that out. And there
Oh
is a
yeah.
resistance to that.
Absolutely. And I understand as a consumer, right?
Mm-hmm.
I view a ton of workout videos. I view a ton of recipes for,
Mm-hmm.
high protein. I view all these things, and more and more and more people are selling you a product,
Yeah.
where I could used to be able to like read the caption
Mm-hmm.
and get some facts. Now it's like, well, if you want to know more, attend my
Sign
class
up.
for $57, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, damn it, social media used to be educational, and now it's really just about selling us something.
You are expected to, on the corporate side, in the business side, we know that you have like point 0.3 of a second to get someone to register your brand. And because we will automatically scroll right past it, we have ad blindness. And within social media marketing, there's this thing called frequency, and it's about how often you want someone to view your ad. Outside of social media, a frequency of like once a week is kind of high. And think about
Yeah.
it like on TV. If you were to see a TV all the time, once a day is kind of high. You're like, oh my God, I'm seeing this commercial again. Because there's
Mm-hmm.
fatigue to frequency. It could be 5 times a day for social media, and that is not crazy high frequency.
Right.
And that is something. So, like, we have ad blindness, we've adapted to that. And so now these videos that we found to be entertaining are shifting. They're not as fun anymore. I have not seen a successful video in a long time of these. Here's an aesthetic video of these mood board type things to get you to read my book. Or
Mm-hmm.
here is remember those videos where people would like flip through the book and then land on a page and then
Mm-hmm.
shut the book, and that's the title, and buy my book online. I mean, even now there's a super annoying trend that if someone's talking about a book on TikTok, they don't talk about the book title, and you have to like go looking for it in the comments and something, and it pisses me off. But now authors are doing that too to their own freaking book.
Yeah. Or people will post random videos and be like, if you know, you know, whatever. I have to go to the comments and be like, what do I not
I
know?
don't know what I don't know. I don't know. And
Am I too old for this?
those comments save me. Those
Yeah.
comments keep me young. And the problem with this, right, is that authors found success with
Mm-hmm.
promoting themselves with these fun, quirky videos. You have one video that does well, suddenly your book is now charting on Amazon,
Mm-hmm.
Amazon charts. And we interviewed Emily Rath, author Emily Rath. So cool. Loved her. And she said, like, yeah, all of a sudden I would catch my book charting again or the sales go up. And she was like, oh, which video talking about me has gone viral? And
Yeah.
it's needed, right? And so traditional publishers start picking up these authors. And whether at this point, whether they're self-published or they're traditionally published, marketing is needed. This is a
Mm-hmm.
business at the end of the day. Marketing is needed. And for the first time, authors have a big hand in their own success.
And they're expected to contribute, right?
Mhm.
Never mind that you've spent years of your life writing the book and you've sold your soul away to a publisher with a ton of money
Yeah.
who could invest in you.
They don't.
They
They
don't.
don't. I think people really overestimate publishers. They don't promote shit.
They are greedy.
Yeah.
They make money off of you,
Mhm.
not to invest in you, but to put in their pockets.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
There's been a lot of discourse on like if publishers just marketed books, they could actually make more money,
Yeah,
right?
I
And the
think Penn
authors could be
Cole
successful.
Penn
Yeah.
Cole posted something like that on her threads,
Yeah.
and what was it? Was it Red Tower Publishing?
Yeah, she said something to the effect of like
75% of their books or 70% of their books like
become
charted became bestsellers, and that's because they spent more time and money in promoting
marketing.
their in marketing dollars essentially.
Yeah.
And publishing industry is notorious for not doing that, and now that they're picking up these influencers, these popular self-published, look at Quicksilver, look at Callie Hart,
Yeah.
these books that have done phenomenal on their own, and they're expected to continue. It's now a vicious
Hmm.
cycle. It's now you cannot be an author and not try to have a social media presence and continue promoting. And now that we're friends with these authors and we see them, they're posting every single day.
Every time I see a post by Kate Golden, I hurt for her on the inside, just in like how much she posts per week and how much work that takes. And I
Yeah.
know people can pay freelancers to do this stuff, right? And they probably do.
She hustles.
She
She hustles.
hustles.
Yeah, she puts in so much time for her to promote her books. And when we say we hurt for her, we hurt for her in the way that we're proud of her, of being like that.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah, yeah.
because that's also because people don't know of the way that she hustles with writing her books too.
Yeah,
Like, and
yeah.
her other personal life. Like, if you can just even Kate Golden, that woman is
She is
inspirational
superwoman.
and terrifying. And I
Yeah.
if superheroes exist, if we find out that there is such thing as demigods, wouldn't be
Kate Golden
surprised.
is one of them.
I would not be surprised in the
Yeah.
slightest.
But even like Hannah Nicole Mayer, who we're also friends with, she's
Yep.
posting new content all the time.
And hers are a lot of times like skit driven
Yeah.
and like again, like posting content, it's vulnerable. We hate
Mhm.
it. We
Mhm.
have to do it. We only started doing video podcasting because it was all of a sudden the trend turned to video podcasting. And then we're like, do we have to? We bitched about putting our makeup on for this.
Yeah, I really didn't want
I'm
to.
going to be honest. I didn't wash my face. I just put it on. I put on some toner and I'm going to regret it later, but I was like, I can't do it. I am barely wearing a bra right now. Okay. There is pure resentment in this and having to get dressed and because we're doing it just to post clips. We don't anticipate
Right.
anything for success on YouTube. We're like, we need the content.
Yeah. It's for a world that is so content driven, visual,
Mm-hmm.
to be a blip on anybody's radar takes a lot of effort and a lot of
Yeah.
heartache.
And at that point, authors, we are at the whims of TikTok gods, Instagram
Algorithms.
gods, algorithm. We are at the whim of the algorithm. We don't know. The thing that nailed one of your posts that went super viral, you're then trying to recreate it and then that doesn't go as viral, but then you do one that lasts for like 2 seconds and then that goes really well and then you do one that's like all of a sudden TikTok saying, well, the more, well thought out, the better lit, the better
Mhm.
camera quality, the more likely you're going to succeed. So you do that and you're not succeeding, but then you do one grainy and it succeeds, but now they're having you post stories. Like it is the most frustrating thing in the entire world to be posting and putting yourself out there and
Mhm.
just hoping to get that one video because we see it. We post a
Yeah.
successful video, boom, we can see an increase in followers or listeners and stuff.
Yeah. And we know when Spotify features us
Mm-hmm.
to a certain like demographic because that one day we have 14,000 listens. And then
Within 1 hour, I mean, yeah, we'll see a huge spike in it and then we'll be like, what just happened? And it's funny because you can actually like see them following the episodes,
yeah,
we're like,
going through
okay,
the seasons.
yeah, like they're now on episode 6 and you can kind of see some slowing down and everything. So we are constantly hustling for that viral video. And now it's becoming more and more unlikely for the author to create that viral video, but for others to then talk about it. That happened with Kelly Hart, where
Hmm.
all of a sudden some reader picked it up, started talking about it, and it started trending, and everyone is talking about it, promoting. But that doesn't mean that she's not out there posting every single day as well. Her
Right.
stories, she's constantly posting.
I mean, one thing, someone coached us on before we went to go pitch our own books, right? At Romancing the Craft,
Oh, yeah.
we were told in your pitch, find a way to demonstrate you're a team player. You will invest time and effort into promoting your book.
Yeah.
We were flat out told that. That is what
We,
publishers are looking for.
we were told walk in, say your podcast and the number of total downloads you have, talk about how many followers you have, like barely give your name, then
Mm-hmm.
go into your book and then
Mm-hmm.
talk about how good you are at marketing and how you're willing to be a team player and that at the end of the day, this is a business
Yeah,
transaction. It is cold and heartless.
it is. Welcome to capitalism, baby.
Welcome to capitalism. And, I mean, I think I'm happy that you and I kind of came in at this where we're both businesswomen in our own right, in our own daytime jobs, that we're like, we've been weathered and cold about this going into it. So we know at the end of the day, a business is a business and we try
Yeah,
to do our best to give back to our listeners. But like, if you join our Patreons, because you love us, not because we're good at it.
it's so true. It's so true. By the way, if you haven't joined our Patreon, for $1 a month, you can get less ads. And
Not
be
even
every.
mad free. It's just less ads.
We just have some that are hard baked in.
If it's hard baked in, we're not taking that out. I'm sorry, we can't. But yeah, you can for $1 a month you can do less ads, which is a steal because we're posting twice a week. So then that's how many dollars? How many cents per episode at that point? Go do math.
I can't do math right now. My brain is
Okay,
dead.
that's fair enough. So all that to say, like I hope the listeners take away from this is that marketing is hell.
Yeah.
Authors are expected to do that because they came into this TikTok space at the same time as the reader space.
Mm-hmm.
TikTok, Instagram, this is not Goodreads. This happened at once. This merged together. This was an equal opportunity space, right?
Right.
So then things start to blur a little bit, right? Then it starts to become author, reader, whose space is this anymore? What are even the lanes? Because some dumbass readers out there, I'll call them out on this, will tag authors in their
Mm.
negative reviews weekly, almost daily. I can go on Threads and see an author being like, please stop tagging me in your negative reviews. I don't need to
Mm-hmm.
see it. Like, there was a podcast who tagged an author in their negative review of them. And it's like, what are you doing with that, my man?
Yeah. It's everyone is entitled to an opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody has to listen to it. You're not entitled to people listening to it, especially the author.
Yeah. And especially when you're dragging them into this because you
Mm-hmm.
can't tell me you're not doing that to try to get them to say something.
Absolutely.
You're trying to get that author to comment so that you can screenshot it, so that you can say, oh my God, guess what they said? And you are therefore inviting them into that conversation. And yet authors cannot do that. Like they cannot comment. It is a well-known thing. You do not comment on reviews. So now you have more and more reviews popping up on Threads, on TikTok, on Instagram, and authors have to now avoid videos about their own books and comments about their own books. And that is hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like every once in a while, someone will tag us in a video, and I'm always like, what's this one about? And we've gotten a couple negative ones before
Yeah.
where they were like responding to a video we said and they were being negative, and that actually made me laugh pretty hard. But it is really hard to have to dodge yourself online. And I can only imagine when it's like when you have like hundreds of thousands of readers.
Right. And I saw something recently that, it made me question because I'm a cynic at heart.
Mm-hmm.
To what extent are authors being exploited? So I recently saw a post about someone who wants to open a bookstore in their small town because there aren't romance bookstores.
I think I know where you're going with this.
And the person said, if my husband said he would fund me opening a romance bookstore if I can get his favorite author, Rebecca Yarros, to comment on this post. So everybody and their mom starts
Mhm.
tagging Rebecca Yarros. And Rebecca Yarros, sweetheart that she is, responds, well, guess it's time for you to open a bookstore, which is cute. But that video went viral.
At the expense of Rebecca Yarros and
Yes.
requiring action of Rebecca Yarros.
Right. And I don't even know to what extent the romance bookstore dream is real versus is that person just trying to get clicks? I don't know.
I also don't know. Like I was trying to I saw that and I was rubbed the wrong way by that too. And I also was like trying to put myself in Rebecca Yarros' shoes. I don't know this woman.
Yeah.
I don't know what she stands for.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's MAGA. Like, I don't know if my values do not align with her. Cause the last thing I would want is like, I'm going to create a bookstore, but I'm going to get rid of the queer section. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
no,
Right.
like, I am not going to support that. But now you look bad if
Mm-hmm.
if you're not like supporting a romance bookstore or supporting this person. And there's a million reasons why I myself would not want to associate with someone with my brand, because at that point, an author is a brand. When you and I started this podcast, we went into this where I was like, Amy, we are a brand. When
Yeah.
I was 16 on MySpace, I knew I was like, this is my brand, what I'm putting out there.
Yeah.
And that you have to be so aware of that. And that was an exploitation of Rebecca Yarros's brand.
100%. And you know what? If she opens a romance bookstore, I hope it's the best romance bookstore ever.
Yeah.
Because she got what she wanted.
Yeah.
And I hope that Rebecca Yarros doesn't come to regret it. You know what I mean? Like that, she took a risk
Yeah.
by doing that. And again, authors don't owe us anything. They already put out their work, they already made themselves vulnerable.
Putting out your work is one of the most vulnerable things you can do. To be like, I'm going to put this out there for everyone to shit on it, to comment on it, to do whatever the hell they want on it. I am ready for the day that we put out our own books and people are like, hey, you have an entire podcast dissecting, the merits and what could be approved upon books, and being like, your book was trash. And I'd be like, do as I say, not as I do. What can I say? Like,
Writing is
I
hard.
promise writing's hard. I promise you nothing. Like, I know the mistakes I made. Think that doesn't haunt me. So, but the thing is, like, if someone were to say that online, I can say that. I cannot contribute to that conversation. And it really reminds me of when we were in college, because Amy and I both did creative writing for our bachelor's degree. And they did, in my mind, we were sitting in the middle of a circle. Maybe that was me, like, feeling emotional. I know we weren't in the middle.
We always sit in a circle,
Yeah.
but
But we
because
weren't
we're in
in
a
the
circle, you
center.
can see everyone.
It felt like I was dead center. And everyone would comment, and you were never allowed to speak and justify and explain. And even though it was torture, and I think that was kind of like that really was shitty, it kind of was good practice too, to be like, you know what? I put this out there and this is their interpretation. And in the
Yeah.
real world, I do not get to explain what I was trying to do. This
Yeah.
is the real experience.
Exactly. Intent means nothing if what you've put out can be interpreted in different than the intent.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the unfortunate part about writing. That's the unfortunate part about anything anybody does, right?
Interpretation is like, you and I were refreshing ourselves on different literary lenses, and there's one that's the reader's lens, and it's about the reader's own emotional journey with this. But like, it's such an interesting lens, because in order to do it, you have to have a hyper understanding and like self-awareness of what your reaction is during this reading, and the fact that that would be different than another person's reaction of the same reading. And that's the same thing with like books and putting it out there, where it's like, I'm going to put this piece of art out there that anyone is going to read it, and not a single person will have the same
Reaction.
emotion that you are trying to evoke.
Right. It's so true. I mean, it's like anytime we analyze a book and we're like, this is fine, but it rubbed me the wrong way, because if you're this identity or you're this other person, this wouldn't be okay. Right.
Yeah.
So we do that kind of analysis on the podcast, but that's not our own writing.
No. And you and I try to say all the time, if there's a book that you and I just are not jiving with, if we're just not mixing with this book, right? We try our best to be like, you know what? I just might not have been the right reader. And that's okay. And sometimes, not any book that we've discussed, but like, I think out there was one book where I was like, this just isn't good. But like, for the most part, sometimes you're just the wrong reader. And unfortunately, online readers and reviewers, they don't take that. They don't take the grain of salt with them. They do not take the nuance of it. They don't look at the intention of the author. And it then becomes, here's a review, and I'm going to put it out in the same neighborhood. Because imagine it that way, right? Like, we are all living in the same neighborhood that is social media, that is TikTok, that is Instagram. And we all have the right to be in that same neighborhood. You can't say that TikTok is a reader space and think that authors can't be a part of it when authors have to be the one freaking promoting their own book. Like, you can't claim that space completely.
Yeah, let's go back to the Rebecca Yarros
Mhm.
situation.
Yep.
You know, a reader benefited from Rebecca Yarros engaging with their post. What if that same reader came back when Rebecca puts out her next book and is like, this book is trash, and
Yeah.
tags Rebecca Yarros, and everyone decides to tag Rebecca Yarros? A, not cool.
Mhm.
B, you're entitled to your opinion, but again, she does not have to engage. Why are you
Yeah.
putting a big cutout of Rebecca Yarros on your front lawn?
They are benefiting from an author being in a reader space.
Yeah.
How many times has someone benefited from an author entering their space for promoting this indie author? Maybe that's another author, double author space, but like, for commenting on something like or cosplayers. I know there's
Mm-hmm.
tons of cosplayers who, Pencole's a great one, or not just Pencole, a lot of other authors who, there are so many women of color cosplayers who will cosplay as, although DM is a woman of color, but will cosplay these other characters who are white, and obviously they're a woman of color and they'll portray them. And it's up to the author to uplift those cosplayers to say,
Mm-hmm.
you know what, you can cosplay. We're not going to have race be a limitation to this. And the amount of authors I've seen uplift these cosplayers,
Mm-hmm.
and any other kind of person, women of color, queer individuals, people within the bookish community, authors are able to lift them up because they're in the quote unquote reader space.
Exactly. Exactly. And the equivalent for us might be if Taylor Swift commented on one of our posts and is like, I listen to you guys. Like, that would
I would,
be,
don't even get me, I can't, my heart fluttered, I can't even.
but like that insanity.
Yeah,
And then people hear about it. Swifties hear about it. Now Swifties want to come listen. Like,
it's the
that's the
same thing.
it's the same thing, gravitas that the authors bring to the space.
Hmm.
So, I mean, it's a double edged sword, right? The authors need to understand the influence they have,
Yeah.
right? Because if they post negative things,
Hmm.
it's like the prices of eggs. Like, what did the Swifties do? I don't know, but somehow the
No.
prices of
What did we
this
do
is
with
a
eggs? Yeah.
it's a Grammy 20, was it the 2024 Grammys where never mind, it's a
Okay.
reference.
I know there was something to do with eggs, but I can't remember. But I
Yeah.
think that's a great transition to another instance of something that I saw where, going back to the author who made the comment saying, hey, you don't have to like my book. Feel free, take it back. Sorry you didn't like it. And all of their followers came in and said, how dare you not like her? And like, the thing is, like, these successful authors are wielding power. So
Mm-hmm.
then it starts to become like, okay, so what becomes the reader space? And for me personally, the reader space is the second that there's a conversation happening. The second there's a conversation about the book, that is now the reader space, and we leave that alone. And I'll tell you something that we do in social media marketing. Every once in a while, there'll be a post about, if I was like, a particular company that I'd be working for, and they'd be like, oh my God, there's this Instagram post that's talking about us, and there are so many comments. What are we going to respond with? And my answer to that was absolutely nothing, because that
Mm-hmm.
conversation is held in that post. That conversation at that point isn't a bunch of other videos jumping on. And, so long as that conversation is held in this post, in this narrative right here, like, you leave that alone. You do not have anything to do with that. Again, we are all in one big neighborhood, and every time a conversation happens, that's another house. You don't enter
Mm-hmm.
the house. You don't have to stick your head through the window and say, hey, I'm here, I'm watching this. Or you don't have to like it, or thank you for liking it. That's another thing, is that authors are also encouraged to not even engage with positive reviews of their
Mm.
book, which is hard. I love
How do
engaging
you
with positive things when people talk about the podcast. I'm like,
it's
tell me I'm pretty.
it's so contrary though, because they have to promote themselves on social media. The
Mhm.
algorithm favors you if you engage, but you're not allowed to engage.
That's like, yeah, there's so many birds outside the window right now. That's terrifying. Kentucky's too wild of a place. Uh, but like, it is one of those things where, like, you are expected. Okay, this is actually interesting because the more you engage with content, so like with the podcast, when we're engaging with ACOTAR content, not even Throne of Glass. So like right now we've been exclusively engaging with Throne of Glass. We're about to hop into Silver Flames. We have to drop all Throne of Glass and only engage strictly with ACOTAR related content, because when we put out, if we only engage with this content, whatever we put out will kind of match with the algorithm, right? So how many of these authors are not getting their big viral videos because they're trying to avoid, like you just said, Amy, you're smart, because they're trying to avoid content that has anything to do with them because it's not their job to.
But the publishers are expecting them to, but they can't succeed
Mm-hmm.
if the algorithm relies on them focusing on content around them.
It's a vicious cycle.
It fucking sucks.
And going
Do
back
I
to
want
that,
to be an author?
that's
Do
why
I
you
really
just
want to do this?
that's why you just came up with this business idea that you and
Yeah.
I are going to, circle back in a year, guys. We have
Yeah,
we're businesswomen at heart. Amy
we are.
particularly so. She's like deuces. Not out, just creating a much larger thing.
I can be more successful running businesses, probably.
It's be the wizard, I'll be Dorothy.
Okay, deal.
But we work together
Right, right,
and we
right. I'm
go
not
home.
evil.
Yeah. You're not, it's, yeah. Minus you being evil and minus me being a whiny little bitch. I'm Wicked version,
Yeah.
not a Judy Garland version. Anyway,
Hmm.
sorry, that was a journey. Okay, so this one author, so the influencer who turned author, like I was referencing, she comments on the post, making a joke. Please, feel free not to return it. And then readers start coming out with videos and saying she should know better. She should know that this has nothing to do with her. And I actually saw a video talking about publishers, they have an army of marketers and people behind them, and they're surrounded by a team, and it is laughable. It took everything in me not to comment because, again, I'm trying to save my like online commenting drama for the things that really matter. Instead, I save it for an episode to passively aggressive talk about it here.
Well, yeah, because the publisher, yeah, they might have an army to market, but how many books are they putting out each year? Also, they're only going to focus on the SJMs
I
and the
know.
Rebecca Yaroses. They're only
And the
going to
Sinlin
focus,
U.
right, they're going to focus on the ones that are proven to make money.
Sinlin U got a bunch of hype this past year for their book Manacled because at one point Manacled was the highest read fan fiction on AO3.
Mm-hmm.
And it had millions. It was a baked in success. As
Yeah,
you can't guarantee anything, but as much as baked in success could be, it was, right?
right.
And again, you don't have a team behind you. You don't have a
Mm-hmm.
team of marketers. You don't have a team of people who are working and hustling for you. You have an editor, you have an agent. Those two don't work together. Those are two
Mm-hmm.
different entities that
Mm-hmm.
are, the agent helps you get the editor, and agent kind of helps you, with the publisher and everything. And you can run things by your agent, but ultimately your editor is going to help determine what's going to make it in the book. And that's it. Like you're not working with a team of people. And even the people who are the PR people, authors don't always have time with to interact
Mm-hmm.
with them. It's funny enough, you and I interact with them fairly regularly for the podcast.
Right. And I mean, we have more direct contact with the PR people than we do with the author most of the
Mhm.
time. And I learned when we were at Romancing the Craft that if you're in a traditional publishing, house or
Mhm.
imprint, your editor is also trying to work on the marketing. And so
Yeah.
you have to trust your editor, who is their craft is writing,
Yeah.
to help make marketing decisions for your book and convince
Mhm.
other people to market your book. Like that's a lot of work for one person, and they're doing multiple books. They're not doing just your book.
They are not doing just your book. Your book is one email in a long list of emails they need to send. And again, Amy and I have every single day, we have a bunch of emails from a bunch of different PR people from major publishing companies. Getting published within the big five does not necessarily mean anything because our inbox is inundated every single day by all these PR people from large publishing companies, which makes us sound so fancy. They're like, have you heard about this book? And then the next email will, like 5 emails later, will be from the same person talking about a
Yeah.
different book.
Yeah. And we can't respond to all of them.
No, we
Like,
genuinely do not have time to even
the,
respond saying thank you, no thank you.
right. We are so inundated. And that doesn't even include the people who are self publishing, who are doing their own PR, who are reaching
Yeah.
out to us. Like, it's a lot.
And we would love to promote. We would love to talk to these authors. And I wonder if people are even interested in this because this is a little bit of behind the scenes, and I hope they are. But you and I have talked to publishers,
Mm-hmm.
and there is a certain type of almost like deal where it's like, I want some of your big authors, but I will talk to 5 of your debut authors to get to
Mm-hmm.
one of your big authors.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of the that's business for you, baby, and it's like
Yeah.
in the best world, in the best, best case scenario. I mean, I would love to be talking to these new authors. You never know who's you're going to have. I mean, and not even in the sense of like, they're going to be the next Hannah Grace, which is funny because we were her first podcast and then she
Yeah.
blew up
And then
and
she blew up.
which was incredible. And I was so proud of her. But like, we would love to uplift voices and be able to say,
Mhm.
like, yes is incredible. But we are also a podcast who is trying to be successful, and we are a business within our own right. We know when we cover a book that only has 400 reviews on Goodreads, that is not going to get as much screen time or listen time as anything that we did with Rebecca Yaros, with SJM. And when we do that, we are actively losing money. And we are aware and we have made those choices and that commitment to lose money because each ad that you guys are skipping through, it's okay to skip so long as you're listening to the episode, it's fine. But each ad that you're skipping through is something that we are getting paid for, which keeps the podcast alive. So Amy and I made the conscious decision to uplift these authors, but we can't do that every single time because, again, we are a business and we are trying to make this sustainable and be able to afford the editors, to afford to be able to do more. And we can't, and we
Right.
don't even pay ourselves. Damn it.
And that's, and we do this on top of our full-time
Day
day
jobs. Yeah.
jobs. And it is a cruel, cruel world to be any type of creator, whether you're an author, an influencer, a podcaster, whatever it is,
Yeah.
you're constantly reinvesting that money. And so again,
When
I don't even
whenever
know
I
what I want to
tell
say.
whenever I tell like family members or friends like how much money the podcast made this past year, it's impressive. Like it is an impressive
Mhm.
amount. Like when we were talking about it, it was like, holy shit, we made that much money.
Yeah,
Again, how much, Amy, came into our personal pockets?
0.
Yeah. This is the first time we have been able to not have to edit episodes, to edit clips, to be able to afford an intern. Shout out to you, James. Love you. And
To be able to go to events to promote
to
ourselves.
promote ourselves, to be able to bring like the swag things that we give away at these events, to be
To,
able to do street crew and send them
right.
out to for free to people because we're saying please promote us. Like
Yeah.
we made an impressive amount of money and we didn't see a dime and we are netting at $0 at the end of the year.
Actually, we're going to be in the negative.
Oh no.
If
No.
you think about our business credit card as well, like
Oh shit.
we will be in the negative, and
Yeah.
we have been ever since we started this podcast.
This was the first time we did it on purpose though, because we didn't want to
We didn't want to pay taxes.
taxes are a bitch, guys, because that's another thing you have to think about. But that's like the funny thing is like, when it comes to art, you are both a business and you're both a craft. And I'm going to include podcasting as art because we're talking about our interpretations art. We're part of her eye roll was so aggressive. Can you guys
No,
hear that?
I
No. I'm
I
joking.
squinted.
You squinted to the side. The funny thing is you agree. But like we are putting out something, right?
Mhm.
And you cannot put something out and think that it's going to be sustainable and think that it's going to go out into the void and people are going to suddenly magically hear it without treating it like a business. From day one, you and I treated this like a business. Before we even were making a cent, we were lying to the bank saying, yeah, we'll make money. Please open a business account for us. Eventually we did, but it's and I think that that's kind of hard for consumers, readers, listeners, anyone who consumes this art, this media, to have to reckon with the fact that you are part of a business agreement. And social media is kind of where it gets a little messy. And the assumptions that these readers make gets messy. And that's not to say that there aren't authors who are messy who like do go after readers and start talking to them and getting into fights and it's like babe, no, you shouldn't be
Right.
doing that.
Right. I think at the end of the day, to be a presence anywhere that people can view and interact with, even as
Mhm.
a content creator, as a bookstagrammer, as a book talker, even if you never intend to write, to be someone who creates content, who makes any type of revenue, it doesn't have to be profit. If you engage with them, you're entering a business transaction with them.
You are. But if you want that content, you are entering a business transaction. And if you don't want them to have your business, then don't engage. Don't send negative reviews. Don't post those things. Like
Yeah.
I've read books, stopped reading it, and then did nothing about it, But
Right.
again, like you're still consuming it and nothing in this world is for free, even Kindle Unlimited, right? And
Right.
even if you are, let's pretend like the payment is, as a reader, your time is money.
Right.
Your time is money that you're not, investing in yourself, but it's also money that the author is making too. And again, it's symbiotic. It's kind of what you need to do. And it was easier when the lines were a little bit more separated and you had like good reads and non-good reads. But like we
Mm-hmm.
are all in the same neighborhood when it comes to social media. Authors found success for the first time making money, being able to make money and being able to live off of their own work, understanding on like the authors and the reader side and saying like, well, whose space is what, and navigate it. And there's going to be slip ups like that one influencer turned author. And I think I'm just my moral of my story is like, we should all be a little nicer to people because one day I'm going to need it.
I think at the end of the day, that is the moral of the story. Like, it's the golden rule: do what
Mhm.
to others you want them to do to you, which is be nice, be
Yeah.
nice. Because even if you're not nice, negative attention is still attention. You're still
Hmm.
promoting that person.
Yeah.
Whether or not they like what you have to say,
You posting a video saying this is a trash book, I absolutely hate it. Again, time is money. You, the reviewer, posting that video, you're making money off of that. Don't pretend like you're not. You're trying to get that, like, you're not trying to get that viral video, right? If you're posting a negative review on TikTok, somewhere out there, you're trying to get the likes, you're trying to get the views. And what will that equate to? You becoming an influencer and making money. Like,
yeah,
it
we're all part
all
of it.
the world is capitalism. Where do you fit in it is the question. And
Right.
how do you be as moral as you can within this capitalistic world?
Right. And if we're going to invest our time to promote anything,
Hmm.
ourselves, other people, why not be uplifting? This
Yeah.
world is
Yeah.
full of enough negativity.
Yeah.
Let our brand and let our money be spent on
On positivity,
positivity.
giving grace, giving room to maybe you don't know it all. That one video I saw of someone saying that they have an army of marketers behind them when I was like, you know nothing. You are
Actually,
so we have an agent, we have a podcast network. Do you think we have an army? No.
no, nothing.
No, we really don't.
Our agent doesn't do shit.
We love you, agent. No, we should.
He doesn't even listen to
He
us.
doesn't listen to us. Our agent comes around once a year. Thankful for our agent. So happy to have him. We wouldn't have the podcast network without having him. But once a year he comes back and yet takes 10% every
Yeah,
single time. And like, again, why are we still with this agent? Because it comes with a name and we are part of this corporation and we are saying take 10% because we know the name that we're getting by being signed with you.
right. The reputation you bring and back us up with is valuable.
Yeah. It's funny how I'm grateful for our podcast network too, but like to think like if someone was like, they screwed up with a podcast and they should know better because their podcast network we weren't media trained. We didn't know. Like, I love our podcast network, but by golly, there has been like, they signed us because we already were successful,
Right,
you know?
right.
Like, I
It
don't
wasn't
know the rules.
altruism.
No, I don't know the rules to this. Like, I'm still figuring
Yeah,
it out.
yeah,
Maybe one day there'll be like a publishing company or a podcast network or anything else that's like, hey, we're going to give you some guidelines here because
yeah.
I don't like, we've been in the bookish community for over 4 years and
Mm-hmm.
I'm still discovering things.
Yeah.
I don't know the rules.
Well, the rules keep changing.
The rules keep changing and people aren't nice about it. And all that to say, when we publish our own books, please be nice to us.
And we'll be nice to you.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Book Talk for Book Talk with Jack and Amy. Next week, we'll be discussing As Many Souls as Stars by Natasha Siegel.
If you're enjoying the show, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. It really helps other readers find us. And of course, we'd love to hear what you thought of today's episode. Share your comments through our forum at booktalkforbooktalk.com, and we might feature your feedback in a future mini episode or in a Patreon exclusive episode.
For merch and more ways to support the show, head to booktalkforbooktalk.com. You can also follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at the handle BookTok for Book Talk. And don't forget to join us by subscribing to the Subtext Society Journal.substack.com to get more insights into the romantasy and romance world.
Bye.
Bye.